B2B sales are about to get a lot harder than they already are. And if your sales team is running the same strategies and scripts from 2024 or even 2025, your pipeline is going to get absolutely crushed in the next 12 months. Here's why I'm so confident in saying this. The market, competition, and strategy is all shifting now. Most founders and sales leaders won't even notice this until their KPIs are absolutely ruined. But it isn't all bad news, because if you know what's coming and adapt now, you can actually gain a massive edge while your competitors are forced to slowly come back to outdated sales strategies. Now, if you're wondering why you should trust me on this, the reason is simple. I'm deeply in the trenches of enterprise sales. And over the last 10 years, I've coached 100 plus B2B sales teams and closed deals for over £100 million personally. And I've been behind the scenes for long enough to understand things most sales leaders haven't been through enough to actually see. I'm already seeing clear patterns that tell me exactly where this is headed. So in this video, I'm walking you through the 7 biggest changes that I see coming to B2B sales. These are the ones that will either make or break your outbound in 2026 and beyond. Shift 1, access has collapsed. Buyers are harder to reach than ever, not because outbound stopped working, but because of how businesses operate today. Most decision makers aren't in the office, so you have to go through the phone. But now with AI, phones are screened. You can't call someone and just speak to them straight away. You have a voice screening. If you're reaching out on email, spam filters are stronger. LinkedIn inboxes are saturated. Getting attention itself is now the constraint. So teams cannot even get into conversations. Reply rates have completely dropped, and SDR efforts feel wasted before the selling even begins. Most founders misdiagnose this as a channel problem. In reality, access now requires precision. Targeting and relevance must earn the attention before the selling even starts. Shift 2, volume no longer creates leverage. There used to be just diminishing returns on activity. Now there's negative returns. Every extra unit of volume costs more energy than it gives back. For your sales team, this means burnout accelerates, the reps will churn, and founders ultimately panic, spending more and pushing harder, but that extra pressure replaces the clarity. So to win, you need to fix the system before scaling any effort. The volume only works when the underlying process is completely sound. Shift 3, relevance is commoditized. With all of the AI tools, personalization is now automated. Everyone can reference new job titles, LinkedIn posts, certain job change triggers or market change triggers to personalize lines in the outreach. But in reality, this is just surface relevance. So it's no longer differentiating you across the next rep reaching out. Messages ultimately look personalized, but still feel really empty. So buyers are disengaging emotionally even when they reply. And teams feel like it's working, but they're mistaking response for interest. You need to be moving beyond that surface level personalization and finding that relevance. Relevance must be earned through understanding, not through token gestures. Deeply research manually your prospects to win. Shift 4, judgment became the differentiator. Buying decisions are more complex and less obvious. The problems are harder to diagnose. So decision processes are ultimately opaque. There's that blocker to the information that you need to be able to tell why a deal is stalling. And teams cannot tell why deals stall. Founders don't know whether the issue is relevance, follow-up, or multi-threading. So guessing and that gut feeling of deals replaces diagnosis in 2026. You need sales wisdom. You need a lot more sales experience in your teams. So there's people that have already developed the sales judgment, that innate ability to interpret what matters in this deal right now. Instead of always looking at where the deal is in the process, there needs to be that layer of reading in between the lines of deals and the information to beat your competition. Shift 5, data abundance has created blindness. So on your sales team side of things, you've got millions of dashboards, you've got all these different signals around the metrics, but more data didn't create more clarity. Teams are tracking activity instead of progress. Founders and sales leaders feel more informed, but directionless from the data, and decisions slow down or oscillate. You should use data to drive decisions around tests, but context matters more than metrics. Many sales leaders and founders get stuck in tracking and reporting on the data and feeding that back to the team without getting close enough to the issue to actually know what to do next. So get close, don't sit behind the spreadsheets, use the spreadsheets, but don't be blinded by them. Shift 6, skill decay accelerated. There's more content, more channels, more context switching, more cognitive load for your sales team, but the skills erode faster than they can be retained. It's so easy to put your team through training, but because now it's so easy to put your team through these AI training tools, the training does not stick, meaning the confidence drops and those old habits return within weeks. Meaning old habits return within weeks, 50% of training's forgotten within 2 weeks, so monthly training just quietly fails. That reinforcement must be continuous, so training becomes a system, not an event. Have regular training sessions, ideally daily, with your sales team to make sure that their confidence is high and the information is retained. Shift 7, the minimum standard quietly rose. Buyers now expect complete competence by default. That tolerance for mediocrity disappeared. What used to be good is now average. What used to be average now fails. With AI, there's new tech. With AI, it's a lot easier for more competitors to enter the space and create noise around, and ultimately meaning there's more people speaking to your buyers, your prospects, the people that you want to work with. But ultimately, outbound still works, but only if you are genuinely good enough. Then founders misinterpret execution gaps as market failure or lack of product market fit. Then defensiveness replaces true diagnosis of what's going wrong. So to avoid this, you need to raise the floor across the entire system. The messaging, the judgment, the training, and execution must all clear a higher bar. Now, if you're watching this thinking, all right, I now know how my sales team is going to crush it in 2026. That's exactly where most decision makers get stuck. Understanding a strategy doesn't put meetings on the calendar. A system does. So instead of trying to remember 20 different ideas and hoping your team actually executes them, click the next video where I break down the exact system that added 50 monthly meetings and led to a 42 million Series A in 90 days. The targeting, messaging, and orchestration strategy we installed. Outbound still works, it's just brutal without a system. I'll see you in the next one.